So part 3, deploying an NG firewall virtual appliance. Okay, so now this whole topic is about, right? So in the Azure marketplace, there are several options available. There are other vendor offerings as well, right? So you have Cisco virtual appliance, you have PAN, you have Barracuda. That's all up there. For this demo, I'm going to utilize the FortiGate virtual appliance. I love working with that appliance, both a physical on-prem appliance or virtual. They're pretty much the same with their Forti operating system. But I mean, overall, it's a powerful firewall. It's a powerful product with a lot of cool features available, and at the same time, it has very easy to navigate GUI and it's intuitive. And that's one of the best things that I love about it. Okay, so you have the power, but you also have the ease of management, right? Being able to look at logs and things like that. So for those of you that already have a FortiGate, I think you know what I'm talking about. But for those that don't, you'll see in a bit here. Once I deploy the FortiGate, you'll get a better understanding of the GUI. For the time that we have, I'm not going to go into all the features, of course, but you'll at least get a basic understanding of how that looks. Okay. I'm going to be touching on the licensing model for the virtual appliance. So you can do pay as you go or buy or bring on your own license. So also applying those outside and inside transport subnets that I had configured previously. You'll see how that comes into play now. And then, assigning a public IP to the actual firewall, and then, how to access it and manage it at that point. Okay. So let's jump right in. So again, I have my virtual network and VMs, and now I want to deploy the actual NG firewall. So I'll go right back to the marketplace again. And then I'm going to type in FortiGate. I'm going to have a couple options here. I'll do the single VM. You can also deploy the FortiGate in a high availability option, but that's not going to be covered in this video. Here, I'm going to just go ahead and name the VM. And then now I can select between my licensing options, right? So I could do pay as you go or bring your own license based on the FortiOS version that I want to choose, right? So for my demo here, I'm just going to utilize 6.06. 6.2.1 is much newer and it includes other features, but for our video here, I'll just go with what has been deployed in most environments, right? So I'll go ahead and set my administrative username and password. Here, I'm going to just create a new resource group just so I can have all my FortiGate objects just contained in a completely different container and will be easier for me to manage later on, right? If I want to delete it or whatnot. And then as far as locations, I'm going to, again, just select Central US. And now under the actual virtual network, I can specify a new one, or I can actually choose my previous one that I created, my demo VNet. Here I can select my sizing as well, because again, it's a VM. So there are different sizing options available based on your license that you purchase for it. Here I'm just going to do 1 virtual CPU and 2 gigs of memory. And then here I'll select my outside and inside transports, okay? So again, all it is just WAN interface and inside or LAN interface, okay? Going to hit OK. Here I can actually assign my public IP. And this is going to be the public address that gets assigned to the FortiGate virtual appliance itself. And then towards the end here, I'll show you that that's ultimately how I'm going to get in and manage the appliance as well. So just to kind of quickly recap on my settings, I have my location, my version, the virtual network that I'm deploying it to, my outside and inside subnets. Again, it's just WAN or LAN, right? I'll hit OK. And then I'll go ahead and create this VM. In a few seconds here, we'll have our full FortiGate virtual appliance deployed. There we are. And I'll pop in here now, and you can see the actual VM, okay? And it's up and running with its own resource group there on the right-hand side. If I want to, I can drill right into that group and see all of the objects that were created in that template, in that deployment that I just did a while ago. All right, so if I drill into the actual FortiGate, here I'm going to see my public IP address that has been assigned to me from Azure, okay? So that public IP, you can just treat it as the same as that private IP below, because all it's doing is just NATing directly to that private IP, okay? So here I can open up my tab and actually jump right into the FortiGate appliance using HTTPS. And then I could just sign into it here with the same admin credentials that I had configured earlier. All right, there we are. So again, for those of you that have a FortiGate, this probably looks just like your FortiGate in your environment. For those that don't, this is the FortiGate GUI, okay? So here I can go under network and interfaces, and you'll see the two, my outside transport and inside transport, right? So port 1, that's my outside transport. And then port 2, I have my inside. So you could just treat this just like my WAN and LAN ports on, your on-prem firewall, right? So pretty similar concept there, just kind of approach it a little bit differently. And there we are. So to recap here, again, we went ahead and deployed a FortiGate virtual appliance, virtual machine from the Azure Marketplace. I went with a pay-as-you-go licensing model just because I'm demoing it, right? I mean, ideally, you want to bring your own license so that way it's more cost-effective for you overall. I went ahead and assigned those outside and inside subnets to the firewall. Again, it's just my WAN and LAN. Then I gave it a public IP address and management access, right? So right now I can manage the device through its public IP.